Right now, the biggest entertainment companies on Earth are cashing in on a very specific type of memory. We see it in the record-breaking anticipation for GTA 6, the stadium-sized hype for WrestleMania, and the constant stream of 64-bit classics dropping on the Nintendo Switch. When a brand resurrects a movie tie-in basketball from 1996, or brings back a discontinued dipping sauce as a social media event, a massive demographic of adults responds instantly. For millions of millennials, the impulse to buy isn't a choice, it's a reflex. The media we consumed 3 decades ago acted as a psychological blueprint. The specific combination of sights, sounds, and physical experiences from that era established the baseline for what we consider exciting. Early 3-dimensional gaming, massive live spectacles, and aggressive corporate cross-promotions interlocked to create a specific threshold for engagement. By hitting these 3 nodes repeatedly, the industry told us exactly how to respond to digital and commercial stimuli. To understand why today's media landscape looks the way it does, we have to perform an autopsy on the specific 90s triggers that first programmed our modern consumer habits. Attending a live stadium event in the early 90s meant stepping into a world that felt dangerous and unscripted. The beer was $3, the pretzels could double as blunt weapons, and the lack of an omnipresent internet meant that a character's aura was still capable of feeling real. In March 1991, an NWA performer known as the Undertaker stepped into the ring and dismantled a legend like Jimmy Snuka in under 5 minutes. He moved with the slow, deliberate pacing of a reanimated corpse. Between the pale makeup, the blank stare, and the purple gloves, he projected a chilling commitment to the character that shook audiences in a way that couldn't be easily explained away. Modern wrestling promotions spend millions trying to replicate this kind of mythic presence, but these highly produced, focus-tested attempts often feel sterile by comparison. That 5-minute squash match set the standard for live spectacle. It proved that a well-crafted character could elicit a genuine fear-based reaction, a standard that modern shows are still desperately chasing. This same intensity was being engineered at the local fast food counter. In the late 90s, grabbing a burger became a heavily commercialized cultural destination. In 1998, McDonald's used Szechuan sauce to tie into a Disney release, while Pizza Hut enticed kids with greasy pan pizzas and exclusive Space Jam basketballs. These campaigns targeted us at an age where the distinction between a meal and an experience was non-existent. We didn't just want the food, we wanted the specific dipping sauce or the branded piece of rubber that everyone else was talking about. Today's chains try to recreate this feeling through memes and ironic social media posts, but they lack the potency of the original recipe, which relied on physical scarcity and authentic cultural saturation. These campaigns were a masterclass in manufactured urgency. They successfully taught us to associate our reward centers with branded exclusivity, creating a generation that responds to limited-time offers with immediate action. In 1997, the gateway to digital adrenaline was a physical trip to the video rental store. You had to physically hunt down a gray plastic cartridge, hoping you'd get to it before someone else in the neighborhood did. Once you got home, the tension didn't stop. Need for Speed 3 introduced split-screen police chases and spike strips that could end a friendship in minutes. Then there was blast cores on the N64. The objective was simple: clear a path for a runaway semi-truck carrying defective nuclear missiles. If the truck touched a single building, the mission ended in a mushroom cloud. Pilots had to switch between bulldozers and flying mechs to level entire city blocks in real time. The game forced you into a state of high-stakes panic that lasted for hours. These gaming loops provided a constant stream of heart-pounding pressure, training us to equate digital entertainment with an elevated heart rate. As the hardware pushed us into new territory, early graphics began to trigger unexpected psychological attachments. Lara Croft became the face of the 90s 3D era. Despite her sharp, triangular, low-polygon model, she dominated the cultural conversation and changed the way characters were marketed. In the arcades, players became obsessed with 2D sprites like Chun-Li and her spinning bird kick, or the digitized real-world footage used to bring Sonya Blade to life in Mortal Kombat. Because these graphics were blocky and abstract, they forced our imaginations to fill in the gaps. This active mental participation created a level of attachment that modern, hyper-realistic graphics often struggle to inspire. We spent a decade absorbing a concentrated dose of stadium-sized fear, branded desire, and interactive pressure right in our living rooms. Those repeated stimuli defined our expectations. They set the emotional frequencies we look for every time we engage with a screen today. This explains why we reject a modern open-world game if the police chases don't feel as relentless as they did in 1998. It's why a billion-dollar live event can feel like a failure if it lacks the presence of a performer like the 1991 Undertaker. Media companies aren't just selling us nostalgia. They are meticulously attempting to reactivate the specific patterns of engagement that were established during our childhood. The 1990s established the standards of engagement that still govern our spending habits today. It wasn't just a decade we lived through, it was the moment our tastes were permanently defined, dictating the multi-billion-dollar entertainment economy we see now.